Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are doing well. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Hi, so today we are going to see how to write a good M function. So this is the problem we are going to deal with. I already have a video on this, but I'm going to show some cool stuff in this one. Okay, so basically the idea is that we do have a list of person, and first one is name, second one is age, and then third one is gender, and it's repeat in this way. Okay, so first one is name, second one is age, and third one is gender. Okay, so that is this data, and we need to convert this into this kind of data structure where we do have one column for this name part, one column for age, and one column for gender. Okay, so basically what we need to do, we need to take this data into Power Query. So we can go into this data tab, and then you can just say from table and range. So I already have some data, let's ignore that part now. So let's say put this name as output, something like this. Okay, now what we need to do, so we need to transfer this data into 3 columns. So at first we need to get this column. Okay, so just we can do this drill down. Next step is that we can just say list.split. so this is a new way, and I get to know this from one of my students. So list.split, and that is, so as you can see the page size as a number. So page size means how many item it will take for each of this list. So this is 3 for this case. So now you can see this, that this is first person details. Okay, Baki 22 male, this is the second person, this is the third person. Okay, now in the third step we can have another option like table dot from rows. Okay, so table dot from rows, so it's expect a rows as a list, so I can just specify that one. Okay, now you can see we already get this data. Okay, now we can just do name, we can just do age, and we can just do gender. Anyway, so it's done. Now we can just do this drill down. Okay, now the issue is that, let's say if I change this data, like if I add one more input section in this section, that country. Okay, so let's say Bangladesh, and let's say USA, and at the end let's say UK. Okay, and if I go into this output and if I do this refresh, now you can see this data is not corrected, right? So this data is not correctly presenting the data I want. So for that, what I need to do, I need to go into this output section, and then I need to change this, instead of 3 it will be 4, right? So it will be 4. Now if I go into this fourth column, that is country. So that is good. Now this data is presenting correctly. It is one way that if data change, we need to go into this section and automatically change those code, and then it will work properly. But the issue that we don't want to do that. We don't want to go to M code and change that code every time. So what we want to do was to convert this first as a function. So now you can see that the first input is this table, right? This table, and then next input is that how many columns it should have in the final output, and we can also pass this column header. So we can just go into this. So let me make a duplicate. We can go into this advanced editor. Now the first input is this table, so you can just say source as table. And then the next one is that how many columns. So column count as number, and final output will be as table. So this is that one, and then column count. So I'll put this as in another step, that is 4, and I'll make this comment so that if I uncomment this part, in that way it should work. So now this is a function. Okay, now this is a function and I can invoke this function. So let's change this fx long to flat or something like this, and then what I can do, we can get this, make a duplicate, and I don't want to do any step, so I'll just invoke that function. Okay, so fx long to flat, and then that will be this step, that means the source, and the next one is column count, that is 4, and now you can see it's work. Now the issue is that these column names are manually typed in this function, right? So the next issue is that how can we remove that manually typed text in this section. So in that case, what we can do, we can just take column list as argument instead of number. Okay, so now we don't need this one, so we need column list, and that will be this 4 column. So name is gender and country. Now, so this will be this column list. Now when we are renaming these columns, right, so then we can just use that, or if you see in this table.from rows, then you will see this, there is columns as any, where you can just pass this column list. So we don't need this last step anymore, and we can just put this as output. Now column count, so okay, so this column count, so that will be this list count. Okay, so list dot count, and then this will be this column list. So that will be dynamic, and if I do it now, if I go into this, now it say that we cannot convert the value 4 to type list, so we need to pass that list, right? So let me copy that list. So that is this one, go into this section and pass that list as input argument. Now it works. Okay, so that it makes a little bit flexible, right, that it's automatically, we can give this column names, but still it's not automatically updated, like it is not that we don't need to change the code, always we need to change in this section. Now we don't want that also. So what we want to do, we want to get that column header list from user. So that's why I do have one more table in this section, and then I can just go into this data and from table and range, and then I can just drill down. So this is that column list, right? So I can just change this name to column list, and in this output section I can just put that this will be column list. Now this is okay. I don't need this column list in table, in sheet. So I'll delete this. It will make this as connection only. So now I need to add this country. And if I go into this, and if I do this refresh, now you can see this, that is updated automatically. Now if my data changed, let's say, if we add one more field in this section, let insert row above, so let's say occupation, insert row above, and whatever it is. So now I can just put in this section that we do have one more field. I go to in this section and just refresh it. Now we can see it's automatically added in this section. So this problem is fixed, that we don't need to change M code, right? Now the issue is that if I change this header, let's say something like this, test header. If I go into this section, I do this refreshing. Now it's saying that the column list of person of table was not found, right? So we do have one more issue in this section. So I will go into this, and it's saying that when we are applying this function, it's not working properly. Now I'll go into this section, make this uncomment, and make this one as comment. Now do this. So source, it's working. Now you can see this is test, right? This is column list, that is that. Now it's updated with occupation. Now this is list of person. Now it say that source list of person. So it's expecting that this column name will be list of person instead of test or something else. So it's expecting that this name will be list of person. So here we have one more issue. So we can bypass this. We have table dot column. So we need to think like this, that how can we make this code much more flexible. Okay, so that is this one. Now we can just say this is the table, and the column name we are looking for is the table dot column names, and this is the table, and pick the first column. Now if I hit enter, now we get this input, right? Now if I go into this section, and then if I do comment this and make this uncomment, and then done. Now you can see this, we get the updated data in this section, right? If I go into this section, it's being updated in this section. Now if I change this column header, and if I go into this section, and if I do this refreshing, now you can see it's being updated. Okay, so we can just change any column header, we can change in this section, and it will be updated in this section. So user don't need to go into this M code and change the M code. Okay, so now we basically what you need to do, we need to think what kind of bad situation user can have, or what can user do it will make this function not workable. Okay, so we need to think those situation where user can do something that this code not workable or bad. So that's it. And this commenting uncommenting part, that is very interesting, because you can just debug this, you can just go step by step after you convert that function. So it's better to keep that. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.